Prabhu, and he also leads kirtan, very similar to your kirtan. In fact, I just saw a kirtan of Lord Nishingadev's appearance
Okay,
day.
I have a thing in front of me that says this meeting is being recorded. Should I hit got it? I don't want to press any.
I'm just recording on my computer because Sikarani is not arrived.
Hit continue.
I had got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it.
I'll try to put this on Facebook at least. Acyutananda Prabhu speaks out. That's what I'm going to entitle this.
And could I just take a moment to offer my Dandavat pranams to Pavamana Prabhu?
Please.
Hare Krishna Dandavat pranams, Prabhuji. I haven't seen you in a long, long time, but I have very fond memories when I was a new bhakta in San Diego, and I was serving Gudagrai Maharaj, and you're obviously extremely close with him for years. So I haven't seen you in a long, long time, but I have very fond memories when I was a new bhakta in San Diego, and I was serving Gudagrai Maharaj, and you're obviously extremely close with him for years. So I just want to in a long, long time, but I have very fond memories when I was a new bhakta in San Diego, and
Cora, you're getting
Maharaj, and you're
echo.
obviously extremely close with
This
him
is
for
not
years.
tolerable.
I shut off my phone.
I have very fond memories when I was a new bhakta in San Diego.
Is that okay?
Echo.
This
is not tolerable.
I shut off my phone. Where's is that okay? Yes, I hear.
Okay, this is.
I'll shut off Facebook. Okay, how's that? Better?
Yes, better.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just shut up now.
Now, did anybody
Did anybody?
hear what I just said about Puri Maharaj? No.
Please repeat again.
Yeah. This happens to me so many times. I'll be speaking and half an hour later, all the people come in. And so I had met Puri Maharaj. I walked with him next to him on 7 days of the Mayapur Parikrama when I was with Bhakti Dayit Madhav Maharaj. Because I thought he was old and I should be with him. And of course, he ended up living for 102 years. Then one time when I was in his room, he was the writer and editor of the Madhav Maharaj's magazine, monthly magazine. And we were talking for a while. And then when I left, I bowed down and he reached over his little table and put his hand on my back and said, "I touch your body," and pulled it back. So quite a blessing. So, by the way, because there's some other story of him being not taking prasadam from foreigners, but he touched me on the skin with his hand. So there's no caste abhiman.
No, definitely not.
Oh, that's very good. So that helps to dispel that notion that he may have had some bias.
Well, there was something, but I don't know. No.
As I heard that story in the past time and came to understand a little of the background, that him and Bhakti Daita Madhav Maharaj had come from a feast at another mat. They had just finished a prasadam feast. And then they dropped by ISKCON and saw Srila Prabhupada, and they tried to offer prasadam and they didn't want to take because they were pretty much full up, was the story that I heard. So.
Brother Ryan Prabhu, thank you very much for joining us. Hare Krishna.
Hare go.
Anand.
I'm driving and my reception's going to be a little spotty. So, in 33 minutes, I'm picking up my dog. So at the pet sitters. So I'm going to do my best to stay on, but I'm honored to be on with all.
I will share the screen. Acyutananda Prabhu, we're finishing the last paragraph of
Very nice. Sid, good to see you, Sid.
Haribo.
Dandavat Siddhanta Prabhuji.
Jagadananda. Where are you? Colorado?
I'm in Denver. Yeah, just got back from Ukraine.
All right.
I like your,
How are your sons?
They're doing great. Thanks so much for asking. 22.
Acyutananda Prabhu, can you see the screen?
Yes.
Could you please read this last paragraph of this chapter, when a person engaged?
When a person engaged in devotional service, okay, part of it is cut off by the photographs on the side. I'm not seeing the full paragraph.
Well, you just have to hit the little button.
On the left, on the right, on the top, on the bottom. You gotta tell me exactly what.
Top right corner.
The top right corner says view.
Yeah, do you see it says talking?
No. I see your cursor.
Okay, because I just
Reading.
closed all those small photos by hitting the little
Yeah,
button.
well, now they're on the side and it's covering the copy.
So you can't read the screen.
I can read this.
Acyutananda, roll your cursor in the middle of that screen that you're seeing in the top right corner. Just roll your cursor in the middle of that video. And now it's on the top, it will appear, you have 4 little icons, a negative sign, a little box.
No, I
Choose.
don't. No, I don't see that. I see a plus sign over here.
Mhm.
The 3 little dots.
No. But
To the left of that, to the left of the 3 dots.
The 3 dots are on. Okay, to the left. Okay, I'm going to click something. Reading list is below it.
no.
The one right next.
That's not right.
Okay, I click the thing next to it. Nothing happened.
Okay, Acyutananda,
Yeah,
listen to me.
I'm
Roll
listening.
roll your mouse off the video of the pictures that you see of the devotees. So it's on the text.
It's a yes.
Okay, now move the cursor of with your mouse into the middle of those pictures, videos of the devotees. And then there should be now a new top row above
middle,
all
okay,
those
there's 4.
photos.
Yeah.
Now click the far left icon where it says hide thumbnail video.
Okay.
Click that.
Gotcha. When a person engaged in devotional service and love of God sings the glories of the Supreme Lord, his heart melts because the Lord is very dear to him. When he glorifies the Lord's name, fame, and so on, he becomes almost like an insane man. And in that condition, he sometimes laughs, sometimes cries, and sometimes dances. He continues in this way without even considering his situation. By gradually developing his love of Godhead, he increases his affection, his emotion, and his ecstasy. The culmination of such attachment is Mahabhava, the highest stage of devotional love. It may be likened to rock candy, which is the most concentrated form of sugar. As it is concentrated, sugarcane juice goes through different stages: molasses, sugar candy. But the final and most palatable state is rock candy. Similarly, love of Godhead can gradually develop in such a way that a transcendental pleasure is increased to the highest stage for the real devotee.
Purport by His Grace Acyutananda Prabhu.
What? Well, in 66th Street, Prabhupada would lecture, and after every lecture, he would say, "Are there any questions?" And sometimes there were no questions, and he said, "You must put some question. You know everything?" And another time, he spoke so comprehensively, so completely. He said, "Are there any questions?" Then he looked at me and he said, "How can there be any questions?" So the just each of these material elements, starting from the subtle down, they have different properties. Tanmatras. So from the five gross kind, we have ether, and that quality is sound. Then air is the quality of touch. Fire is the quality of form, water, taste, and earth, smell. Now we reverse that, and the rasas increase like that, because each one has the quality of the former. Similarly, sugar, Vishwanath Chakravarti says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu, there's 5 rasas. So Shantarasa is like sugar cane. Then you squeeze the juice. That's sakha. That's a dasya rasa. You then boil that. You get molasses. There's more concentrated. Then you also treat that, and you get granulated sugar. Then when you crystallize that, you get rock candy. Each one has the sweetness of the former.
Sites of contract.
What?
I mean, now they've sites of
Someone's talking.
the divisional rival Connor Brown.
Where's that coming from?
Fan of that.
Who's talking?
I don't know.
Krishna.
I hear.
Not me.
Okay. So each one has the full sweetness of the former, and the former disappears. So similarly, each of the emotions of the rasas. I see a guitar in the middle of my screen. Anyway,
Oh, that's Shikarani. Okay.
am I going to have to repeat everything now?
I try to get everyone here at the same time, but it's not possible.
Usually the most important person comes on when I'm finished. Like last Friday, was that recorded?
Yes, it was. It's on my Facebook page.
Okay, so each of the rasas has all of the symptoms of the former, and so these Ashtasattvic Bhavas appear like that. Each one having more and more and more until it is concentrated, and that is called Mahabhava. All of this language of Rupa Goswami, this technical word comes from Bharat Muni. Bharat Muni codified all the arts, dance, music, drama, and he used these terms of rasa and bhava and anubhava and mahabhava and rati, etc. And the 5 rasas, they're all to be presented in music and drama and dance. Ramananda Rai was expert in all this. So Rupa Goswami used the same terminology to explain. Sort of similarly, the outline structure of my book, I used 2 pieces of music. Rachmaninoff's Variations on a Theme by Paganini, and Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition. And I used that musical form to show that was the structural outline for my book. Any Russians here?
Да, конечно.
So, Baba Yaga. So that comes at the end of Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition. And that was my Kali chapter, the Tantra chapter. There's something very, very dark. Then magnificence comes after. What else?
Next paragraph.
Okay. Nothing from you, Siddhanta?
No, how can I top that?
Siddhanta Prabhu, would you like to have the honor of starting?
Baba Yaga is a big evil witch in Russian, European, Polish people know so. The ecstasy of the Lord and his devotees. The symptoms of highly developed devotional service for Krishna, which are exhibited by the pure devotees, are sometimes imitated by those who are not actually pure devotees. This is described in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It is also, sidebar, It is also see Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 2, verse 117. Purport. Same thing. There are devotees, false devotees who imitate and make a show of these emotions. And also the last part also says, and those who suggest that we not read the literature of the previous acharyas are akin to impersonalists. Because there's sort of a lawyer's trick when we debate and we quote something from Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Jiva Goswami and say, well, that's not in Prabhupada's books. Well, in Prabhupada's books, it says, read the other acharyas.
Right.
But that's, inadmissible evidence. They're trying to pull that thing here to limit your scope. So you go here. So I guess you're an impersonalist for limiting my quoting of Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Bhaktisiddhanta or other acharyas. Without devotional service to Krishna, such symptoms are artificial, not actual. Sometimes those who are not conversant with the science of devotional service are captivated by the exhibitions of such symptoms, but learned devotees know they are simply imitation. According to the various divisions and gradations of devotees, permanent devotional attitudes can be divided into 5 categories. Peacefulness, that's Shantarasa. Service to Krishna, Dasya. Friendship with Krishna, Sakya. 4, there's parental affection towards Krishna. And 5, conjugal love for Krishna. Each division has its own taste and relish, and a devotee situated in a particular division is happy in that position. There's the history of Shyamananda Thakur, who had a guru that was teaching him, and the text disappeared. But he had a guru who was teaching him in Sakya Rasa, and he was not very happy. He's called Dukhi. Then he was in association with Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya also told him, you're not happy because you are inherently a madhurya in Parakya Bhava, and then everything happened. So okay, the text disappeared.
Yes, can I just ask you a question, please?
Yeah.
So we were just reading that the devotee is happy in whatever position he is, in whatever rasa he's in, correct?
Yeah.
So why do we hear so much emphasis? I spent some time visiting one Gaudiya Sangha, and they were saying, oh, Prabhupada had to be a Manjari because everybody in Prabhupada's line is a Manjari. Others say, no, Prabhupada's a Saka, he's a coward boy. So one question is that even really relevant to us? And if one is satisfied in any rasa, does it really matter whether one is in Manjari Bhav or this or that?
This, maybe I said it last time, but the same question came up when I was on the Russian Zoom talk. It was very funny because the same question came up. So is Prabhupada Dasya or Sakya or Vaikuntha or Madhurya? I said, yes. And the Russian translator goes, da. So it's Jejitamang Prapadyante Tangstadhaiva Vajamyaha. If you are in Sakya Rasa, and the Guru can see that. He knows it. What is it? And he will put forth Madhurya always. He always put forth. When I in 26th Avenue, all I heard was Madhurya. Now, if a Dasya listens to Madhurya, he'll go, wow, that's amazing. But I can't do that. I'm not going to be comfortable in that. If a Dasya or a Sakya or a Shanta even, they're going to go, wow, that's amazing, the devotion and dedication of the gopis. Uddhava is in the presence of Radharani herself in Unmada, madness and anger of Vamya. She's a left wing, and really sees her having this argument with there's all the 10 prajalpas are there. Prajalpa, Pratijalpa, Sujalpa, all these different arguments and discussions are there with the bee. And he's our guru up to Madhurya, but he never becomes a gopi.
Huh.
The Sakya, the Priyanarma Sakas, they're the ones who build all the thrones and the swings and the kuti kunjas, the kutis that they build, and they know all about Radharani's and Madhurya Rasa. They know every detail. Pass messages about it. They play ball, and they throw a ball to Krishna, but it goes way over his head. I don't know if it's Sudama or Subal. They throw the ball way over. Krishna goes into the kunj to find the ball, and the ball comes back, but Krishna doesn't come back. The ball comes back. Where's Krishna? I don't know. Let's play. He goes off because that's a whole arrangement for him he throws the ball where Radharani is. Left field, right field, center, Well, so he's going to throw that ball and indicate where Radharani will be. But even Balaram cannot show up in Ras Leela. And here's another, back to the Bhagavad Gita concessions in chapter 12, verses 8 through 12. Lakshmi Devi asks, how can I dance in the Ras Leela? They said, well, you'll have to take off this royal garb and crown and leave your husband Narayan. And then you'll have to come and be born in Braja and marry a cowherd boy. And then you'll have to cheat on him. So I can't do that. You go back down to Vaikuntha. It's not, you can't have a royal queen dancing in Ras Leela. Similarly, non-different, these things get confused. And Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Maharaj's favorite line, he would always say, finest adjustment of rasa. So people know that.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
What?
He'll come out. Fire gets back here behind. Hopefully.
All the avatars are non-different than Krishna. But you would never have a Ras Leela of Kurma dancing with the gopi. Angana, Narad Muni says, Angana, Angana, Antare Madhavam, 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 Antare, Angana. Angana means the gopi, is Angas, not Angsa. Angsa means a little separated particle. Anga is his own limbs. So Angana, Angana, two gopis, Antare in the middle is a Krishna. Madhavam, Madhavam, Krishna, Krishna, Antare, Angana. In the middle is a gopi. This is a description of Ras Leela. This is Cupid, Kandarpa, tried to shoot one of his lust arrows at Narad Muni. Narad Muni said, wait, you won't get any fame for making me lusty. You go to Vrindavan where there's a Ras Leela going on and shoot Krishna. So every time he aimed his arrow at one Krishna, there would be a gopi. And the gopi would come and then there would be a Krishna and start to aim and being absorbed. Now he had to concentrate. When you shoot a bow and arrow, you have to focus on your target, on a spot on the target. So he was concentrating on Krishna. And then he became overwhelmed in prema. So therefore, that's when Krishna gets the name Madan Mohan. He bewilders even the god of lust. This is everybody second initiated on this thing?
Yes.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
so. Tom is not.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
This is Pushpavanaya. This is that word. And Madan, Cupid, Kandarpa, has flower arrows. So these flowers are called, they are the manjaris. There's a manjari bhava.
In one of the songs that Srila Prabhupada wrote on the Jaladuta, he mentions how he's looking forward to playing with Krishna in the pastures with the cows, and so
Yes.
some have expanded on that, saying this is proof.
That's exactly what a gopi would say.
They say sakaras.
Well, they say that. I say that's exactly what the gopis say. When Krishna comes home from, it's called Dhuli,
Right.
the
Good.
birds, there's some noise coming in here.
I don't know who that is. Sikarani, do you have your, is there any noise?
I'm checking out at a store.
Okay.
Sorry.
So looking out from their windows, they see Krishna coming back from at the afternoon. That's called Godhuli Muhurta of time. And they'll think, oh, if I could only be a cowherd boy and I wouldn't have to sneak out at night. Every night they have to sneak out, evade their husbands and other family members. And so they pray that I wish I could just be a cowherd boy so I could be with Krishna freely all day.
Look, you do whatever you do with that. Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to be a gopa to run in the fields with Krishna.
Thanks
To
very
start.
much.
There's I'm sure that in not only ISKCON, but in the world, in Sanatana Vaishnava Dharma, there are people who are thoroughly dedicated to Narayan. I had a private darshan of Sri Ranga Dev in Sri Ranga. And there was a Ramanuja Sri Vaishnava young devotee next to me looking, he said, oh, I love to see Sri Rangam lying down, and he looks so peaceful. Lakshmi Devi is there. And I said, do you know Krishna dances with millions and millions of gopis? And he says, that's also nice, but I like to see Sri Rangam. See, I didn't interfere. That's his thing. Mahaprabhu did convert Venkat Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta's, is he father or uncle? Uncle was Prabodhananda Saraswati, his father. He converted him to Krishna's to Bhagavan Swaya. He converted him from Narayan to Vishnu to Goloka, from Vaikuntha to Goloka. He elevated him to that, and he accepted. But if we can't accept it, then okay. But this cannot be debated. That's the thing. There are some devotees who say Prabhupada is Saka, and then they tell me, and I smash the opposition. Which one of the Vyabhichari Sanchari Bhavas is that? You're going to argue and debate? Yeah, if you can blast with love and sweetness, then the sweetness of molasses is not going to be attractive to someone who's licking the rock candy. If you're sucking on rock candy and someone gives you gur, molasses, it's not going to taste so sweet. So it's not to be argued like that.
I get it. Thank you.
Okay, does
Would you like
everybody
to-
get it?
Like to finish, would you like to finish that paragraph? Characteristics.
Where did we stop? Characteristic symptoms exhibited by pure devotees are generally laughing and crying. When emotions are favorable, the pure devotee laughs. When emotions are not favorable, he cries. Situated above these two emotions is permanent love, which is called sthayi bhava. In other words, now I had a very hard time understanding where sthayi bhava was until I read also Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Bindu. And it tells all the sthayi bhavas of all the rasas and the gona rasas. Gona rasas means the lesser temporary rasas. And it came to me when it said, Kamsa's sthayi bhava is bhoya, fear. The base of his thing is he is in relationship to Krishna. All of the sthayi bhavas have to be in relationship to one of the rasas with Krishna. And Kamsa is not, he is a pratikula, he's adverse to Krishna, but his gona rasa sthayi bhava is bhoya, fear. He's constantly, totally afraid that Krishna is going to come and kill him. So he was constantly thinking of Krishna in fear. Put the text back.
So there's 5 direct relationships with Krishna and 7 indirect.
Anukula.
Yes.
Anukul and Pratikul, yes. For Yudhishthir's Sthai Bhava is to be a noble, righteous king,
Uh-huh.
even to a fault. That's a story that we all know, that Krishna told Yudhishthir to lie and say that Acyutananda has been killed. That's the only way Drona could be killed, mourning over his son. He says, I cannot tell a lie, okay, just say it. And then then he said, Iti Gaja, the elephant named Acyutananda has been killed. And when Yudhishthir says Iti Gaja, the elephant, Krishna blew his conch shell so Drona couldn't hear that he meant the elephant named Acyutananda. And so he fell into mourning, and then he could be killed. Then all over, Hinduism, quote, they tell the story wrong, that then they say Yudhishthir also had to see hell, and his chariot that used to sail above the ground, boom, fell down. Not because he lied, because he didn't lie, but because he didn't lie when Krishna told him to. Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam braja. You can give up all these truthfulness and dharma things for the sake of Krishna. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also would say, rules can be broken for a higher cause. The permanent loving attitude is sometimes mixed. Here we come to Sanchari Bhavas with different kinds of tastes called Vibhava, Anubhava, Vyavachari. Vibhava is a particular taste or attachment for Krishna, and it can be divided into 2 further categories, Alambana and Udipan. That's taking shelter, and inspirations, triggers, things that inspire you to have love for Krishna, like to see a peacock feather.
It reminds you.
What was that?
Oh, that was Lokaguru, reminding you.
Reminding, yeah. In the Agni Purana and other authoritative scriptures, that would increases one's love for Krishna is said to be vibhava. And when Krishna is the objective, vibhava is described as alambana. Udipana is in Krishna's transcendental qualities, his activities, his beautiful smiling face, and the aroma of his body. When the 4 Kumaras, now they were Brahmavadis. They'd understood transcendence. They were above the bodily conception of life, but they were not in prema yet. When they cursed Jaya and Vijaya, Lord Narayan came out. What's the matter? What's going on here? And they smelled the tulsi leaves on Vishnu's lotus feet, and that smell was not like any other material smell, but they were full of ecstasy over there. What could this be? There's an Udipan. Udipan's included in the sound of his flute, ankle bells, conch shell, the marks on the soles of his feet, his dwelling place, and his paraphernalia of devotional service, such as tulsi leaves, devotees, ceremonial performances, and Ekadasi. Sunday's Ekadasi, public service. Anubhava occurs when feelings and emotions within oneself are exhibited in the attitude of Anubhava. One dances and sometimes falls down, sometimes sings loudly, shows convulsions, yawns, and sometimes breathes very heavily, all without concern for circumstances.
I have a story if you want to hear a story.
Please, yes.
This kind of relates to what we're talking about in this paragraph, but previously, 1 or 2 paragraphs back, it talked about people who fake these emotions. And this is a story told by Mukunda Goswami. It's 2 paragraphs, if you allow me to read it fairly quickly. This is a pastime with Prabhupada. Mukunda says there are groups of pseudo-sampradayas or apasampradayas, and one of these groups was comprised of the Baals of Bengal. At the time, they were known as mystic minstrels from Bengal, brought from India by a guy named Alan Grossman, who was the agent for Bob Dylan. One day, a member of this group, Subal, who was dressed in very bright colored orange robes, came to the temple along with about 3 or 4 other people also dressed in bright orange robes. Subal held a black poodle in his arms as he stood at the door of the temple. Because he was dark-skinned, had black hair, and obviously from India, I thought we would put aside the no dogs in the temple rule for the time being and let him come in and see what he wanted. He told us about the fact that he was brought over to the United States from India, and he said, "I am here to give you tickets to the Fillmore Ballroom, where we will be performing on Saturday night." Then they all left. Mukunda said, "We went to see their performance that night, which was unusual and not very inspiring. A few days later, Subal and his henchmen from India were at a place called the Straight Theater. We also went there and held a kirtan afterwards. At the end of the kirtan, Subal spun around and fell on the ground as if unconscious. Most of the hippies in the audience thought he was in some kind of a mystical trance, but the few of us realized he was faking it. The next day, I told Swamiji exactly everything that had happened, and he said, 'You should have said to him, my dear Caitanya.' And Swamiji smiled very benevolently and continued to say, 'And then kick on his face.' He made a gesture with his foot as if he were kicking on his face. I felt exonerated from my rather unfavorable comment towards Subal. I felt very much vindicated that Prabhupada saw through the fakery and all this sort of charlatanism that had gone on. He was aware that many people were deluded and misled by persons like Subal, and that what I should have done was call a spade for this guy impersonating Lord Chaitanya."
Who's told that story?
Mukunda Goswami.
Okay.
Mukunda. It's from Mukunda's book. It's a great book. Everything's frozen. Okay, so the text is back. Hold on. External features exhibited on the bodies of devotees are called Udbharsvara. The Vyabhachari symptoms are 33 in number, and they primarily involve words uttered by the devotees in various bodily features. Different bodily features such as dancing, trembling. Did we read this already?
No?
As dancing, trembling, and laughing sometimes mixed with the Vyabhachari symptoms, which are also called Sanchari. Like Sankirtan, to join together. Yukta. Anyway. When Bhava and Anubhava and Vyabhachari symptoms are combined, they make the devotee dive into the ocean of immortality. That ocean is called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of the pure nectar of devotional service. And one who is merged in that ocean is always wrapped in transcendental pleasure on the waves and
On the waves? Is everybody back? Hello? Hare Krishna.
Oh, there he is again.
recording in progress. I got a voice. Did everyone get that voice, what I'm getting?
Yes, I heard it
Okay.
too. Everybody did.
Okay. I'm new to this. So he stepped away.
It appears he returned. now.
Goradas has started,
Sharing has
okay, here it is. He's back.
Mhm.
External features, the particular rasa flavors or taste of devotees merged with the ocean. We read that. Move it up, scroll up. I think. More. It went where? Where am I? There are
Particular
also
rasas,
special-
flavors or
At
tastes.
at the top. The particular rasas or flavors of the devotees who merge into that ocean of Bhakti Rasamrita are known as neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Conjugal love is very prominent. That's where Ujjvala. That's why Rupa Goswami calls it Ujjvala Nilamani. In the last two chapters of Jaiva Dharma, there's a summary of Ujjvala Nilamani. And it's symptomized by the devotees decorating his body to attract Krishna. The flavor of servitorship increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, and attachment. The flavor of friendship increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, attachment, and devotion. And in parenthood, the attachment also increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, attachment, and devotion. There are also special flavors experienced in friendship with the Supreme. See, these are these tanmatras that are ever increasing, and now he's going down from Madhurya down. Now there are special flavors in friendship with the Supreme Lord. These are manifested by such as Subal, whose devotion increases up to the point of bhava. The different rasas are also divided into two kinds of ecstasy called yoga and viyoga, or meeting and separation. In the rasas of friendship and parenthood, the feelings of meeting and separation are various. Radharani has three personalities. There's Sangyogini, when she's with Krishna, when she goes to bring Krishna, actually, when she leaves to bring Krishna, Viyogini, when in separation of Krishna, and Kirtida Suti, who is always with Krishna. And none of these three personalities know each other. So just like Krishna, also Radharani never leaves Vrindavan. Meeting and separation. In the rasas of friendship and parenthood, the feelings of meeting and separation are various. Very detailed. Mayavadis can't handle this. They just can't handle this. So much quality, so personal. When you see, it'll come to kila kinchita bhavas. Kila kinchita bhavas are very little subtle, usually facial expression. Like kataksha, is sidelong glance, has many, many meanings. So the text went away again. The text went away. That's Gauradasa's start. Okay, the situations known as Rudha, advanced, and Adhirudha, highly advanced, are possible only in the rasa of conjugal love. Conjugal love exhibited by the queens of Dwarka is called Rudha, and conjugal love exhibited at Vrindavan by the damsels of Braj is called Adhirudha. Sridhar Maharaj used to say, Ram Leela is Krishna Leela in reverse. Ram is in the forest, and he's always thinking and driving to get back on the throne. Krishna is on the throne in Dwarka, and he's always thinking of Vrindavan. Ravana kidnaps Sita. Krishna kidnaps Rukmini. Vibhishana is a minister of Ravana. He leaves that camp and he defects and comes to Ram's camp. Bhishma is always in Duryodhana's camp. So there's a reverse. We can study this and maybe see more. Those are the 2 or 3 examples that Sridhar Maharaj gave me. But we can see more and more. Can you put the text back? The situation. Where did I leave off? See, every time it goes up, I don't know where to start again. I need to put a bookmark. The highest perfection. Okay. The highest perfections of Adhirudha, affection and conjugal love, involve meeting, Madan, and separation, Mohan. Just like the Krishna has a headache, and he needs the dust of his devotees' feet to put on his head to cure. The queens of Dwarka say, we can't do that. Gopis say, yeah, we'll do that. And that dust mixed with their tears is how we get our tilak. That makes tilak. In ecstasy of Madan, there's kissing, and there's ecstasy of Mohan. And in the ecstasy of Mohan, there's udgurna. I said that. Unsteadiness and chitrajalpa, varieties of mad emotional talks. There are 10, oh, I said this. There are 10 varieties of chitrajalpa, examples which are given in Bhagavatam, chapter 10, 47, verse 12, 21. Okay. Did I tell you about Venun Kwanantam Arabinda Dalayataksam and Prabhupada when I read the Brahma Samhita? Did I say that the last time?
No.
Okay. Okay. See how I said this earlier, and now it comes up. Can you put the text back on? It's very difficult to do. Okay, keep the text on. Well, okay, 10. Remember when I said there are 10 kinds of jalpa? Hello? Does everybody remember when I was talking about the 10 kinds of jalpa?
Yes.
Okay, that's one. Thank you, sir. So, this is a parampara preaching. So I was reading Brahma Samhita. Prabhupada said, what are you reading? Read something. So I was reading the verse, Venun Kanantam Alabinda Dalayataksham Varahavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarana Angam Kandarpa Koti Kananiya Shobham Govindamadi Purusam Tamam Bhajami. And Prabhupada said, yes. That's Bhaktisiddhanta's book and purport. So Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna is not a composite of beautiful poetic ideas of some philosophers. Now, what does my Guru Maharaj said in the purport? So I read the book. Krishna is not a composite of poetic, beautiful ideas of philosophers and poets. Same. Prabhupada said, see, I have not memorized my Guru Maharaj every purport, but we know where it goes. So this is what he said, this is parampara preaching. And that's why you shouldn't change anything. In a portion of Brahma Gita, Udgurna, a symptom of separation is also a symptom of transcendental insanity. And that transcendental insanity, one thinks that he himself has become the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Oh boy, the Mayavadis they run with this. Be very aware of that, because they'll say, see, they're saying I'm Krishna. So that's called ahangropasana. Aham means ego. Upasana, worship or devotion. You worship yourself. How can I worship myself? I'm Krishna. So I'm worshiping myself. It is the Ramanandis and Siddhanta break off from Ramanuja, and they think you become Hanuman. Some of them become Ram, some become Lakshman. So even to think that you are the same as or non-different than any of the Parishads, the Nitya Parishads of Krishna is also Ahangropasaka. In such an ecstasy, he imitates the symptoms of Krishna in different ways. But imitation is the highest form of flattery. So when the gopis are imitating, they want to remember him. Bad example, totally perverted example. You know, there are like 150,000 people, men in America at least, maybe around the world, who behave, dress, and talk like Elvis. They have conventions. You know, they're gonna, hello, ma'am. You know, and some of them are truck drivers, but they do their hair. Some of them are fat Elvis when he was old. Some of them are skinny. That's ahangropasaka. I have become what I worship. In Las Vegas, they have a big convention. They're even with their turbans. There's Sikh Elvises. It's
Thank you very much.
So this is a form of insanity. You know, here it's crazy, but when the gopis, when Krishna is gone, it's devastating. They're totally devastated. So they want to remember Krishna. Look, Krishna used to walk like this. Look, I'm Krishna. He used to walk. Remember how he used to walk like that? The two divisions of ecstasies experienced in the relationship of conjugal love have sambhoga, meeting, and vipralamba, separation. On the sambhoga platform, the ecstasies are unlimited. And on the vipralamba platform, they are 4 in number. The ecstasy exhibited before the lover and beloved meet, the ecstasy experienced between them after meeting, the state of mind experienced by not meeting, and the state of mind experienced after meeting, but fearing separation, are called vipralamba. That vipralamba is also vichitra. When, say, Radha and Krishna might be embracing, Krishna's looking that way, Radharani is looking the other way, and she doesn't see him. And there's a moment when they were sitting together on a swing. They were sitting, Radha and Krishna, someone's talking. They're sitting together, and there's a bee bothering them. A bee is also called Madhava. That's a madhu, honey, bees and honey. So Sudama or Subal or Madhumanga, one of them says to Radharani, don't worry, I've chased that Madhava away. You chased Krishna away? Boing, okay, everything, the whole day is finished. She goes into a vipralamba. No, the bee. Talking about the bee. Okay, back to normal. Vipralamba serves as a nourishing element for future meetings. When the lover and beloved meet, all of a sudden they embrace one another. They feel ecstasy of happiness. And in the state of mind, they experience that ecstasy called sambhog. There's that sung again, together, sankirtan. According to the situation, sambhoga ecstasy is also known by 4 names: sankshipta, sankirna, sampana, and sampratiman. I hope I said that right. Such symptoms are also visible during dreams. Anyone want to say something? Okay, the mental state experienced before meeting. Okay, I see you now, Gora. Turn the page. The mental state experienced before meeting is called purvaraga. Aha! What a thing. We, you and me and everybody in Krishna consciousness, in our sadhana bhakti, we are in purvaraga. We haven't seen Krishna yet. We're on the waiting list. We are in purvaraga now, waiting to. We haven't seen Krishna yet. The first time the gopis see Krishna in his madhurya form is when he is dancing on Kaliya Daman, multi-headed snake. And because it was so amazing thing that nobody would mind if they lowered their veils. They were too young. They were supposed to keep themselves veiled. But this nobody would mind if they dropped their veil. They could see Krishna because Krishna is just coming into his adolescence. And his dance was now not just cowherd boy jumping and playing, but they felt udipan of their madhurya started to flame up their love for him and seeing him in that form, dancing in that form. So we are all in purvaraga. Purva means just before. The obstacles that impede the meeting between the lover and the beloved are called man, or anger. When the lover and the beloved are separated, the mental state experienced is called pravas. Feelings of separation which are present. What a science this is, huh? This is psychology, folks, not Mr. Freud, and not the therapist with a couch and a pipe and pills. Feelings of separation which are present under certain conditions, even when the lovers meet, are called are called love anxieties. Prema vichitra. That's what I said before. It's vichitra. I mispronounced it. Prema vichitra. Even when they're together, if they look away, or some when the forget his name, it's Subal, or it says, "Oh, I got rid of the Madhava," and Radharani says, "What?" You know, such love anxieties are exhibited in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto 90th chapter, verse 15, and by Krishna's queens, who kept awake nights and watching him sleep. Afraid of being separated from Krishna, they talked amongst themselves about how they had been affected by his beautiful eyes and smile. It just popped up, but this is also the precursor to Ratha Yatra and the meeting at Kurukshetra, when the queens of Dwarka, Rohini was then, after Krishna leaves, keep the text up. When Krishna leaves, Rohini is situated in Dwarka also. And the Dwarka Mahishis ask Rohini, could you tell us about Braja? You grew up with Balaram's mother. Could you tell us all about it? She says, well, close the doors, because this is confidential. And people shouldn't see you in such ecstasy, because what I'm going to speak is going to just... And she starts to describe the whole Braja Leela and Krishna's pastimes, boyhood pastimes, Madhurya pastimes, everything. Outside the door is Subhadra. They told her to guard the door. But Krishna comes and Balaram comes. And they're standing on either side of her. And the three of them are listening to Rohini reciting, and Krishna, again, he's on the throne there, but he wishes he was back in Braja. And all three of them, their eyes dilate and their arms and legs melt into ecstasy. And this is Jagannath Balaram Subhadra. That's the internal cause of why Krishna looks like that. So when Lord Chaitanya is dancing in front of Jagannath, Jagannath is in that ecstasy, seeing Lord Chaitanya in the mode of Radharani, wide-eyed, his body is melting in ecstasy to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya is looking back on himself in ecstasy. It's inconceivable. The supreme lover is Krishna in Vrindavan, and the supreme beloved is Radharani. Krishna has 64 main qualities, and his devotees, hold it still there, takes transcendental pleasure in hearing that. As explained in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the characteristics are as follows. His body is well constructed. His body is full of auspicious symptoms. His body is beautiful. He is very glorious. He is very strong. He always looks at like a boy of 16. When I meet outsiders, sometimes they'll say, well, what is Krishna? Are you a Krishna? Yeah. Well, what is that? I say, Krishna is more beautiful right now than he was 1 second ago. So don't blink. His body is beautiful. He is very glorious, very strong. He's always like a 16. He is well versed in various languages. He is truthful. He is decorated with pleasing words. He is expert in speaking. He is very learned. He is very intelligent. He is influential. He's joyful. He is cunning. He is expert. He is grateful. He is firmly convinced. He knows how to deal with different circumstances. He is always conversant with scriptural injunctions. So, by the way, everybody know it, that the gopis also know all this. It is not that we don't study the tattva and the philosophy and the sambandha gyan of Sanatana Goswami and all of the Vishnus and the pastimes of all the avatars. Those are all building up, supporting the Madhurya of Krishna ultimately. A few days ago, I gave a lecture on the 6 philosophers, Sankhya, Kapila, Kanara, Gautama, Jaimini. and Patanjali. Those are all covered in the first few chapters of the 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna just summarily disposes of them. But those philosophies are still alive today. They're atheistic. And it's a natural byproduct of an atheist to fill it in. Maya's right there to fill it in with some elaborate, wonderful volumes and volumes of verbiage, palaver, to establish atheism. Sometimes it's called quantum mechanics. Sometimes it's called logic. Sometimes they call them great philosophers. Bertrand Russell, total atheist, brilliant, educated. Fools and rascals. Prabhupada, his lip was quivering. Fools and rascals. The rascaldom is they don't know. So they come up with a blizzard of formulas. I've always said, have you always asked from first grade till college, why is the sun shining? What makes the sun shine? Well, why? Because it's Krishna's arrangement, that's why. One time a devotee was walking on the Juhu beach with Prabhupada. Prabhupada pointed to the ocean, said, what is this? Says, that's, I think, the Arabian Sea, Prabhupada. No, it is Krishna's energy. Change your vision. See? So the whole vision will change. So why does the sun shine? So you go to at the college level because helium and hydrogen can coexist, and because the positive and the negative can become positive, and it's burning there for eternity, or at least for 3 billion years ago, when the density of the, and that sounds like an answer, but it's not. But we human beings, if we hear something very long and elaborate, and the blackboard is full of formulas with parentheses and letters and numbers, we think, oh yeah, it must be so. That's why the Goswamis, and Jiva Goswami especially, wrote, I think Jiva Goswami writes composed 400,000 Sanskrit verses. One time Prabhupada was condemning science, and some devotee came and said, but the scientists, we have books. And Prabhupada said, oh, we also have books. He pointed to the shelf. We have books. He's very learned. The gopis learn, either they know it by their very, very nature, or they hear. Every morning, Krishna has a show they put on where pundits come and will recite something. And every evening, before he sneaks away, there's a whole show of jugglers and comedians and dancers and a lecture from some pundit that will talk about every lila, every avatar, every demigod. And Purnamasi will instruct the devotees on all of Krishna's lilas, because they don't care that he was that, but they know. So it is not that you can jump over. That's Sahajya. They go right into 10th canto, and then the higher rasa shastras, and start talking about gopis and madhurya without knowing the foundation. And this is the beginning. Ado Sraddha. Bhajana Kriya Sadhu Sangha. But the first thing is faith. Faith means you have faith in the sciences. It's a religion. Evolution is a religion. You have to believe in it. It takes more blind faith to believe that preposterous theory than to believe that there is an intelligent cause of all causes, sarva dharma, sarva karana karanam. Anyway, so this is what gives me faith that there was such, because I was really angry at all the Mayavadi Swamis that came up. They never taught anything of the Puranas. They could have talked about Shiva. They could have established Shiva temples, even Kali temples, etc. When I arrived in Calcutta, 67, with Prabhupada, we met the Malik family. That's the cover of the book, Dancing with the Malik family. It was the height of Kali Puja. On every block, there were huge murtis, gorgeously painted, but temporary, made out of straw and clay. for only 1 month. They keep them, then they dump them all in the Ganges. So, and loudspeakers, they showed all of the, Durga has 9 expansions and then 10 Mahavidyas. Some of them are hideous, some of them are very beautiful. Some are old ladies, some of them are young 16-year-old girls, Shodashi, Brahmacharini, Narayani. Anyway, so I said, Prabhupada, the Western religion has one almighty God. These Kali worshippers, they're worshiping so many different gods. Who's the right, who's better? Prabhupada said, the Kali worshipper is better. Why? Kshipram Bhavati Dharmama. Kshipram Bhavati Dharmama. Very quick, they're in the Vedic system. The Vedic system will bring one up. Then he quoted, Kshipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Ajatang Ananyavar. Because they're properly situated, by worshiping Kali, you will have to, when you sacrifice the goat to Kali, you have to whisper a mantra in the ear of the goat that you are going to get a human form of life after the sacrifice, and you have the right to kill me. So right away, you know of Atma Tattva Gyan, of transmigration of the soul that's in an animal. Western religions don't have any of this. Even though Deuteronomy and Numbers and Leviticus is all about sacrifice, I really can see the parallel of Jehovah and Brahma. Brahma was cursed not to have any temple worship, but he's worshipped by Yajna. So in the beginning, it's all, he's born in the dark. He creates sun and moon and the earth and the animals. And that's Brahma. Later on in Deuteronomy, I have the verse number, it says, we worship the Lord who sends the rain. That's it. So they're worshiping demigods, really. Also, it is told that there should not be any image of Jehovah. So that also, Brahma has no deity worship. He's worshipped by yajnas.
Isn't there temples of Brahma in Bali, in Indonesia, Java?
Yeah, one. Yes. And well, actually, I saw the original map of Burma. Burma is an English word. It's called Brahmadesh. And the Brahmaputra River is there.
Huh.
So that's one. Yeah.
In Thailand, they're loaded with Buddha.
It's golden
I'm sorry,
temple. They
with
worship Brahma there.
Brahma.
But that's unexplained. Even the Angkor Wat, you know, there's 4 faces on the tower. That's Brahma. They say it's Buddha because the Buddhists took over. They smashed Shiva lingams and put Buddhas on top of them. Oh. There's a stone carving, huge carving of Buddha lying down, resting on his hand. They said that's the disappearance of it. It's obviously was a Sri Rangam, a Karanodakshai Vishnu, Mahavishnu. They chopped away the other arms and the chakra and anyway.
Regarding this 20th point, he is always conversant with scriptural injunctions. Is it not said that in order to sit on the Vyasasan, one should be familiar with the Sad Darshan?
Yes.
And aren't those Sad Darshan, are they not all atheistic except maybe for Vedanta? Yoga's there.
Yes, you have to know how to defeat them. Krishna in Sankhya Yoga Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, see, Sankhya means numbers. And can you hear me? I'm getting a sign that says my internet. Okay, it's gone. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Sankhya is alive today as advanced mathematics. He divides everything into the material elements, Bhumi, Rapo, Nala, Vayu, etc. Then he says all the tanmatras, so there's 8 of them. So we're up to 16. Then the composite, or the Mahatattva, that's 19. Then the compositor, that's 20. Then the senses, we got 10 senses, 5 knowledge senses and 5 active senses. So we're up to 38. So you get, he goes on and all of them have tanmatras. Oh, what an interesting study. go on and on like that. And Canada is about atomic particles and subatomic particles. Quantum mechanics is about the speed, get this, the speed of subatomic particles. And that's going to do something, you know. It's going to get you a job teaching quantum mechanics, to teach the students who are going to teach quantum mechanics, who are going to teach quantum mechanics. And meanwhile, they're just involved in all, and they think that, and this is the rascaldom, they don't know, they come up with it. So Krishna defeats those every time. Patanjali is one of the six, and that's defeated in the sixth chapter of Gita. Yoginama pi sarvesham manchikasenansarat. Of all yogis, I consider the one who's worshiping with love and faith to be the best. So that's the end of that. The Maharishi's Bhagavad Gita ends on the sixth. He didn't do the whole Gita. He just went up to the sixth chapter. And the last verse says, not Arjuna is not going to become doing yoga asanas.
Who was the guru of Patanjali, and was Patanjali an impersonalist?
I don't know. But the goal of Ashtanga Yoga and Raja Yoga is to merge into Paramatma, not even to serve. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says they're like the demons who merge into Krishna also. They can realize the Krishna is the size of a thumb, or the size of from the thumb to the pinky, so they're different. So they can realize Paramatma in their heart, but they don't become bhaktas. So they merge into him, and they're in suspended animation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says it'll come up in Caitanya Charitamrita purport, Madhya somewhere, that he said that it's more abominable than merging into Brahmajyoti.
Really?
Yogis and demons merge into Paramatma. So my example I gave in the book, I think, is like, what they do is they gather all their life heirs, and Prabhupada explained this several times, and they raise the kundalini that pushes the soul out from the fontanelle, this Brahmarandram. And there's a fracture, Prabhupada say, we call it a fracture. So they crack their head over getting it. So and so there's a fracture in the top of the head, and the soul can enter into either Brahmajyoti or Paramatma. But this is like my example, together with Prabhupada's. We're in the prison house. If you break out of prison, like tunneling or something, you're in worse trouble now.
Yes. You left prematurely.
He's speaking. And he's by force. Another prisoner is called another prisoner is calling his lawyer. He's learning some skill. Get me out of here. And they can make some arrangement. He's a good behavior, this and that. You may be able to get some at least special treatment in the prison house, like an extra lump of Jello once in a while. Some new paper slippers. But to break out is the word. You get anyone who attempts to escape prison is shot immediately.
Right.
That's the rule. You're shot. He's grateful. He's firmly convinced. He knows how to deal with it. He's clean scriptural injunction. He's controlled by his devotees. Patita Pavana, Gaura Hari, Bhakata Vatsala, Sri Gaura Hari. He is fair. He is fair in his dealings. He is magnanimous. He is religious. He is a great hero. He is merciful. He is respectful. He is confident. He is gentle. He is modest. He is the protector of souls surrendered unto him. He is the deliverer. He is the most powerful. He is famous. Prabhupada gave the example of fame. He said, even the Aborigine people, they have some idea of a supreme power.
Yes.
They see it represented as some big mountain or a great tree. So everyone, human form of life, they'll have some idea of something great. For the atheist, God is death. He is devoted to all living entities. He is worshipable by everyone. He is very attractive to all women. He is partial to his devotees. He is full of all opulence, and he is the supreme controller. He possesses all honor. These 50 qualities are fragmentally present in every living entity. Anganiyasya sakalendriya britimanti pasyanti panti kalyanti chirang jiganti. How's the rest of it go? Kandarpakoti? How does the rest of it go? Angani.
Angani yas
Yasya
kalendriya
sakalendriya
vritti masi pasyanti panti kalyanti charam jiganti ananda chinmaya saduj javala vigraha.
Ananda chinmaya saduj javala vigrahasya govindamadi purja. So we have a little bit of that when we hear, Beethoven wrote symphonies after he was deaf, because he could hear in his mind's ear. We may see something and get a feeling. We may see something and get a sound. An artist will look at a mountain and think of a painting. A businessman look at a mountain and think, I could build a hotel there. We interchange them, but it's all in the perverted sense. All the 8,400,000 species of life are intercombinations of these senses. A tree is called a man who eats through his legs. There's so much tamagun that now he's buried up. Imagine everything has a similar form from Krishna. It's called Vaishnav Darshan or Vaishnav Tantra. Krishna Tantra means the body. Krishna's body generates all the other bodies. So everyone is some quality of Krishna and with interchangeable senses. And they're interchangeable because the snakes smell through their tongue.
Really?
Yeah. That's why they're sticking their tongue out. They're smelling, and then they lick it inside, and then they get the feel. And so many people, or you smell something. Here, the movie theaters used to pump the smell of popcorn out into the street. Here's a nudie. Yes, that's a nudie pond. And people would go, Then they'd see the sign. Oh, I like that movie.
Let's go have some popcorn.
So when we smell popcorn, we think movie.
Right.
But this is a perverted reflection of interchangeable senses. The smell becomes a desire to see. Besides these, okay, so try to get the above mentioned 60, like we had 50. These 50 qualities are fragmentally present in every living entity. By the way, also living entity. Last time I explained that Mahashankarshan is the shelter of all the living entities. Eternal associates in Goloka are not called living entities. They're called Nitya Siddhas. They're called eternal Nitya Parishads. They're eternal associates with Krishna. They're not called jivas. Living entity means the conditioned souls in 8,400,000 species of life. Well, I went too fast. Angani yasya sakalendriya pritivanti pasyanti panti kalyanti chirang jaganti yangashama sindara vijintya guna swarupa. No. Anyway,
Ananda Chinmaya.
Ananda Chinmaya Sudujula Vigrahasya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. That's a joke. Okay. There are 5 other transcendental qualities mentioned below, which can be seen in Vishnu, the supreme. Okay, I skipped one. All these qualities can be perceived in him in minute quantity. See, him is small case h. That means we're talking about little jivas. In Krishna, however, they exist in totality. There are 5 other transcendental qualities mentioned below, which can be seen in Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, in particular and partially in Lord Shiva also, but they are not visible in ordinary living entities. These qualities are as follows. So 51, he is always situated in his original condition. Now, okay, that's a whole big thing. The Mayavadis and even some of the Vaishnava Vaishnavas, they say Krishna transforms into the material nature. We say, no, there's Shakti Pariman. His energy transforms, not he. He never transforms, he never changes. Prabhupada's example, there's electric current, electric powerhouse. The electric current can run a heater or it can run a refrigerator. The effect is cold. But the powerhouse is not cold.
Hi, Brunch.
Yeah. Okay. That's what he's always situated in opposite. He is omniscient. He is evergreen and always fresh. He is eternally blissful. He is the master of all perfections. Besides these 5 transcendental characteristics, there are 5 others which can be seen in the spiritual sky, especially in the Vaikuntha planets, where Narayan is the predominating deity. These are, so that was 51, 55, 56. He has inconceivable potencies. He is able to sustain innumerable universes. Brahma, when Brahma's giving his prayers after feeling remorse from stealing the cows and the cowherd boys, he says, Krishna, he's talking to the same Krishna, universes are flowing out of your pores like dust particles flowing through a screen in a window. That's a very big Vishnu, huh? But Krishna removes all that. Krishna takes that. There's a Anati Rikta Drisha. When Krishna, look at the scope of this prema. Anati Rikta Drisha. When Krishna teases Rukmini, and he says, you know, Queen Rukmini, I'm not really a Kshatriya. I don't deserve to be on this throne. My devotees renounce everything, so I'm going to be like that. I'm going to go and live in the forest and leave all this. And he's just teasing her, but she faints. Kaboom. Uh-oh. Krishna thinks I'm in trouble. Then he manifests 4 arms. Not to show opulence, but 2 arms to pick her up and 2 arms to straighten her hair and her necklaces. And now it's her turn. She's going to get even now. Don't say that you are indifferent to me. Anati Rikta Drisha, you don't look too indifferent to me when you gaze upon me in the creation of the universes. They're in Dwarka. She was kidnapped by Krishna from Shishupal, but she is also Ramani, and he is also Mahavishnu. But she's talking to him in the palace of Dwarka. We are the same. So even down there, when you have the desire to create the Prakriti, you gaze upon me with passion. This is cosmic consciousness. He's able to manifest wonderful pastimes. Wait, did I finish all those? He's able to sustain a number of. He is the seed of all incarnations. He grants the highest perfection to those enemies whom he kills. He is attractive to self-realized persons. That's the Rama verse that'll come up in teachings of Lord Caitanya later. That's so terrific. The above mentioned 60 qualities are visible in Narayan, but Krishna has 4 special qualities, which are: he is able to manifest wonderful pastimes. He is expert in transcendental flute playing, Madhurya Venu. He is surrounded by loving devotees. He possesses unparalleled personal beauty.
I have a question, please.
Wow.
So here he is able to manifest wonderful pastimes. Now, since it's here, it's explaining that only Krishna has this quality, and I've always wondered, does that mean that Lord Vishnu performs no pastimes ever with Lakshmi Devi?
Only here, only in incarnations. In Vaikuntha, they're sitting on the throne being eternally worshipped with awe and reverence and opulence. Those pastimes, Ram Lila doesn't go on in Vaikuntha. Nishinga Lila doesn't go on in Vaikuntha. There's no Kamsa. there are no demons there.
But wait a
But when he
minute.
wants to,
I was speaking with Jivan Mukta Prabhu, and he was saying that according to the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, that Kamsa is present in the spiritual world. I found that surprising.
he's not present. They think, oh, maybe a demon will come, maybe Kamsa will come. But he's never manifested.
There's the threat.
There are four things that are not manifested in Goloka. There are no sadhus. The husbands don't manifest. Baby Krishna doesn't manifest. And demons don't manifest. But they know that Krishna was a baby. They know everything, but they're not manifested there. They only have the feeling that, oh, remember when that demon came? That's why first we go to a Boma Lila. That's manifested in one of the universes. That's in, I think, 48. And then the training goes on.
Right.
This is called sadhana lila. It's still sadhana. Okay. I was going to say something. Yeah. The one time I was asking Prabhupada, because Prabhupada was saying there's no fighting and demons in Goloka, but Krishna has to come here, and the demons are manifested when he wants to fight. Jai and Vijay came as seva, service to Krishna. Krishna wants to fight, but we can't fight here. So I said to Prabhupada, I said, yeah, just like when gentlemen they get angry, they say, step outside. So Prabhupada, he slapped his chest. He went, yeah, come on. He says, sometimes I say something right. Thus, Krishna has 64 transcendental qualities. Radharani has 25 transcendental qualities, with which he can control even Krishna. I'm tired.
You want to continue this on Wednesday? Starting with Radharani? Okay. Let me just check in with Bhakta Tom Prabhu, Jivan Mukta Prabhu, Pamana Prabhu, if they have any questions for you, Acyutananda Prabhu. Does anyone have any thoughts, any clarification you require?
I just hope that anybody could hear last Friday's talk, because I gave so much foundation on Friday.
Yes, you did. I have it saved. I see Badarayan Prabhu is back, and we have all the way from Pakistan, Dr. Maheshwari is here.
I have a question.
Good night. Okay.
Krishna.
So I have a question.
What time is it there? What time is it there?
He lives in Alachua.
He's the same time as us.
Yes.
25.
All right. Can I ask a question here?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you so much. I was kind of going in and out because I've been traveling, and I had to pick up my dog, actually, from our devotee pet sitters. But so regarding the nature of the eternal spiritual form of the living entity, there are different devotees that have different opinions. And you had so much intimate association with Prabhupada. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, say it again.
Okay, so regarding the root of the living entity, our eternal form, you have different devotees who have studied this, and of course you've had very intimate association with Srila Prabhupada, where and so much time in India where so many things were revealed. So there's one camp of devotees that from their studies they say, we really have to spend time cultivating our eternal form. And are you able to hear me?
You keep stopping that, but that's technology. But go ahead.
Yes. So there's one school of thought. I just got to my house. Let me see if I can put on my Wi-Fi here. That might help. Okay.
I think I know
one school of thought that we need to cultivate our Swarup.
Right. So there's one school of thought that we must cultivate, what is our relationship with Krishna? We have to be attracted to that and start practicing that in this while in this lifetime. Another school of
Does everyone
thought
see him,
is,
Rosie?
I'm sorry.
No,
What?
go ahead. It's.
And
go
the
ahead.
other school of thought is that nature, our eternal nature, is you could say it's natural to us, it's fixed. And as we become purified, that will become revealed. What is your understanding of this?
I've always heard that there's every jiva has a certain taste that Krishna wants to taste, inherent in it. And yes, we have to practice to make that come out so that Krishna will say, yes, I like this.
But not
This-
artificially.
Not artificially, but
Not
some
artificial.
people,
That's my understanding also, that it's not artificial, that this comes
but
about.
some people say, the other camp says that it's not inherently there, it has to be given. I don't think that's so. It is given, it looks like it's being given because the guru can tell that this person in Jaiva Dharma, it's like that. He has, in the final chapters, the Babaji Maharaj says, you are a Sakha and you are a Madhurya. So you cultivate that. And it looks like he's giving it to them, but he's not. Just like Lord Caitanya, this just popped into my head. I don't know if it's accurate in parallel example, but Lord Caitanya gave the sannyas mantra to Bharat Keshav Bharati before he gave it to him. Because he knows everything. He's already spread. So some others will say he took sannyas from Keshav Bharati. Anyway, he could take sannyas himself. I know this guy. Oh, I see Loka. So
And Locus sees all.
But I can't see anything.
So
yeah, but I had always heard that every jiva has a certain taste in the qualities that will be revealed in that Krishna wants.
In Jaiva Dharma,
And he wants to bring them back when he wants to enjoy and taste the rest of each living entity. There's another camp that says, no, the guru gives it, or by association you can become. But in the case of Shyamananda Thakur, he was not satisfied with the Sakha guru, and then he was only happy when he became in association with Madhurya, because he was inherently Madhurya. They didn't give it to him.
well, it's just like, who was it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? Was it Murari Gupta? Who was it that was a Ram Bhakta?
Right.
It was,
He
so
could not move.
he couldn't get away from that because that was his
Exactly,
intrinsic
very good.
nature.
That's the opposite. He could not. He says, every time when I see you, I see Ram. Now he's in the brain. Look, Chaitanya manifested himself as Krishna, but he said, I still see Ram.
So what about, it's like you said, you said that this is what you've heard. So in this regard, what did you hear from Srila Prabhupada when these subject matters came up?
But it is, the rasa is inherent. The Stai Bhava and the rasa is in. Were you here from the beginning? When did you just come in?
I was kind of in and out because I was traveling in my car and I had to make a stop.
Did you hear
I'm sorry?
when I talked about Sri Rangam and the Narayan Bhakta?
I did not.
We had darshan of Narayan in Sri Rangam, who is Mahavishnu, lying on the causal ocean. And the Ramanuja Vaishnava said, I love to see Vishnu lying down peacefully. I said, Krishna dances with millions and millions of gopis. He says, that's nice, but I love to see Vishnu lying. But I didn't interfere. You can't. So similarly, just like what is Prabhupada's rasa, is he Sakha? You can't. You have to explain it with nectar. You can't debate it on a microphone, and you have 20 minutes, and you have 15 minutes to respond, and you can't debate these things. What is the book of Prema Samput? Krishna comes in disguise to Radharani. Teach me prema. You can't teach prema. You don't teach. Prabhupada gives the example same. Like Madhurya, when a young boy and young girl meet, they love. They don't have to be taught. When you get a meal that you like, you ask the cook, was it good?
Yeah. It's just like we each have a particular nature in this incarnation Some people are inclined in an
Yes.
intellectual way.
That will come out with a-
creative way.
Eternal.
Yes.
It's
But you'll get
eternal. Hi, Bob.
Right.
You'll get an earful from others and scriptures and quotes and formulas and a whole ocean that it's given by a guru and implanted into you. Guru Kripa, they quote Guru Kripa Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Pit. But that's the seed of bhakti. Then that's when you begin your sadhana.
And you were explaining in
That's not
Jiva,
the prayojana. That's the avidya state. Loki, you want to say?
yeah, you were explaining in Jiva Dharma that one person is being asked, well, first of all, his guru, Babaji Maharaj, asks one, so what are you thinking that you feel? And he's saying, I feel like I want to serve Krishna by fetching the cows that wander off. And he describes all, he said, yes, you are, and who do you like? He said, I like Sridham. I want to serve Krishna and Sridham. He said, you are such and such cowherd boy. And from that moment on, he saw his guru as manifestation of Sridham. But his uncle, he could see himself in a more intimate way, serving Krishna and Radha and the Kunj and doing this and that. He said, yes, you are Manjari. And he gave him his name, and he said, I'll tell you all these things later. And then he saw him, this person saw his guru, Babaji Maharaj, as the manifestation of Lalita Saki.
Hmm.
You know, so guru, someone in Madhurya Ras, it contains all the other rasas. So that simply someone in Madhurya Ras, that's why some people are saying Prabhupada is in Madhurya Ras, because he can give all the other rasas. He can explain to someone who is convinced they're a cowherd boy or a servant or a mother or a father, he can give them everything. But someone is in the Vatsalya Ras, they can't give friendship. They can't give Madhurya Ras. They can only give what they have.
So that's, all that it's so kind of beautifully esoteric, and, it's and I understand it to some degree, but it's also kind of honestly a little above my pay grade.
Oh, yeah.
But what my realization my realization is
just before the Babaji tells them their rasa, just before he says, a few weeks before, he says, take a few days and think it over. A few days, it's taken us a whole life. I don't know. So look at how it went. So this is a question. This is
also the second
for Uttamadhikaris to instruct their Uttamadhikaris disciples. Take a few days and make a decision.
Well, another realization I have is that in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, and which is Prabhupada's mission, there's the real mood is of saving conditioned souls. And in that mood of saving conditioned souls, there's almost like a, because it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood and the mood of Lord Nityananda and its magnanimity and that, kind of the combination of Radha Krishna, combine the sweetness, which is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Called Audarya.
Right. So, I don't know there's so much the technical terms, but there's this Audarya mood of compassion and magnanimity. And it almost, my understanding is, in one sense, it's because it's coming from Mahaprabhu, it's the Madhurya mood, this kind of Sankirtan mood. Can you comment on that, Acyutananda?
Yeah, that's what I asked. I asked Sri Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. I'll tell you the whole way. I at the end of one of his talks to me up on the veranda. Everybody been there? Up on the lanai? And at the very end, we never asked internal questions, but I said, could you tell me Prabhupada's rasa? And he said, yes, I can, but I have to go inside now. So he made me wait. He made me wait the whole day. Next day, Guru Maharaj is calling, so I go up and he started speaking tattva, etc. And I start to, yesterday you said you were going to tell me, yes, it must be Madhurya because of his attraction to kirtan.
Wow.
That's what he said.
Hmm.
Now, someone else may say this, because now it's not a question. People want to be a manjari or gopi because they want rank.
Hmm.
Because Rupa Goswami and Vishwanath and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Bindu, they say objectively there's a higher and lower, but they're really all the same. Everyone is satisfied in their own,
Right.
and if you force them into another mode, it won't work. So Yasoda doesn't think the gopis have more love than her.
Right, exactly. Everybody has their kind of like water finds its own level in a sense, and everybody's naturally satisfied in that inherent position.
The ones, some more advanced to think that Prabhupada say Priya Narma Saka, who they know all about the Madhurya Rasa, but we're, that's his private girlfriend business. We know all about, we know how to arrange. We send messages, we build the thrones and the swings. That's all done by the Priya Narma Sakas, the boys. They know what's going on, but they don't dance in the Ras Leela.
No, they don't participate like that.
Acyutananda Prabhu, some of our younger devotees, second generation, like Tom Prabhu and Pradyumna Prabhu.
Well, I got one more thing before I go. In the Vrindavan Ananda Champu, it says that one Ras Leela takes place on a spinning carousel that's built by the Priyanama. It's about one hand above the ground, and it spins around, and the gopis and Krishna dance in a circle with the platform moving, and then sometimes it switches. And what is that? That is this.
Mm-hmm.
We come to the end, and then you turn it around, and you go back the other way.
Wow.
So they do a Ras Leela on a carousel, spinning carousel, and sometimes one of the Vishaka's ankle bracelet, Nupur, flies off, and then the manjaris are all around to pick up and put things back in place.
Are you saying that chanting japa is kind of like an introduction to the Rasa Leela?
As you have said. Yes. From the beginning. Now, this is the thing. So some people say Prabhupada didn't give this. That's what Prabhupada explained japa was from the beginning. He said, this is Krishna going round. We go back and forth. He explained it that sometimes they dance and then they switch. But in this, then Gopalananda Champu says they're actually, and another, the Ras Leelas are going on in all kinds of kunjas. Sometimes Krishna leaves without separation, but he'll go, and it's just read in Govinda Lilamrita. He'll go and enjoy in different gopis in different kunjas, and then come back to the rest of it. You take a break. It's a big, evening show. They wait all day to go out at night. Every night is Friday night. It's Saturday night. Saturday night. And they have this dance party that lasts for a day of Brahma. And then when it's over, it was like a blink. And they start all over again.
Amazing. So another question I have is, Bhakti True Swami used to speak of, and I thought it was very poignant, we were talking about Siddha Pranali mantra. And
I was just going to say what the local guru was explaining is called Siddha Pranali. Bhakti Siddhanta did not continue that, but Bhakti Vinod Thakur did do it. So
there's a realization that Bhakti True Maharaj had. He said, my understanding is that the Siddha Pranali mantra in Chaitanya's line is Trinada Pisu Nichena. And, very simple, that by becoming humbler than the blade of grass, offering all respect to others, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of sense of false prestige, that these high realizations become, it becomes gifted upon one by that humility and that purification. What is your understanding of that?
Well, Sridhar Maharaj explained that verse. And then what is the next verse?
Janang nasundarim.
So he says, see, first you're a speck of dust, but now in the next verse, you get a promotion.
Right. You pick me up.
Yes. So I never heard that. To the Pranali's Trinadapi. No, I never heard that. But
okay.
But
Yeah.
again and again, these things can't be debated. And so I will smash the opposition to establish. Yeah, there's an expression: win the argument, lose the sale.
Right.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Acyutananda. Really appreciate it.
Just the last quick question that you did.
I have 37 pramanas, and I have another one. Figures can lie, and liars can figure.
Figures.
We got one ha-ha from him.
You've made many references to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. I'm not sure if Nitya or Shikarani are familiar with who Srila Sridhar Maharaj is.
Oh, that's too bad.
Say something about
Today's class was very high level for us.
He's Prabhupada's senior godbrother, and I'm the only one that Prabhupada wrote to another devotee and then shared that we should go to Sridhar Maharaj for Shiksha. If others went there on their own, that's them. I did not, leave Prabhupada, and there was never any mention that I should be initiated by him or change gurus. Sridhar Maharaj always used to tell me, your guru does this, your guru likes that. Your guru, etc. He's one of Prabhupada's most senior and intimate friends. And in that letter, he said, it looks like you need a Shiksha guru. I was alone in India at that time, 67, 68. And the only person I can conceive of is Sridhar Maharaj. And you met him, I had met him the year before. He was writing to another devotee, and he said, you should go to Sridhar Maharaj. Acyutananda knows him very well. So I said, okay, I'm going, because I'd met him the year before. And they were very, very close. And he says, I regard him as my Shiksha guru. So what to speak of the influence he'll have on you, you little. But so that is Sridhar Maharaj, and there are many important books. He was called Shastra Nipuna, a jewel of knowing all Shastras. His title is Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Deva Goswami. Deva means he can instruct the demigods.
And his writing style is so magnificent.
And his vision, and his English was a very, very, very elaborate.
Erudite.
Very. He was also a law graduate, and he was a Ram Bhakta who Bhakti Siddhanta then influenced him to come to Krishna. All the other avatar devotees are Dasi. And I definitely, you will see, just like my friend in Sri Rangam, the Vaishnava, Ramanuja Vaishnava, there are definitely devotees in India who are hearing Krishna, but they're completely absorbed in Ram, or Krishna in Dwarka, or Krishna in the Mahabharata, or Nrsimha, or Vishnu himself. They want to be and get enthused by Vishnu only, and want to be in Vaikuntha, because there's Leela going on in Goloka. They go, I can't do that. Just like this Lakshmi story. No, I can't do that. So basically, I hate that word. Basically, Narayanan up to Goloka, everyone is worshipped in Vaidhi Bhakti. Strict rules are right. He's king. He's King Vishnu. He's Emperor Vishnu. He's worshipped that way, which is spectacular, incredible. Did you ever see the coronation of Queen Elizabeth in 1953? There's a color bird. It's spectacular. You can get your trumpets and a whole chorus of choir. And she's sitting on the throne perfectly serious. And she's given the wand and she's
Majestic.
given the bracelets of justice. And even her husband, even Prince Philip, who just died, he had to circumambulate her. Even though I'm your husband, you are the queen. Oh my God. And then the crown comes slowly down. And there's an ecstasy in that. And so there are devotees, definitely, even in ISKCON and in India, everywhere, they want to see Ramachandra on the throne again, with Hanuman bowing down here, Sita and Lakshman ready to serve. But all the world, it's all peace now and all Raja Ram. They get a thrill. And Prabhupada explained this to us, and we went, wow, But then we see all of these Vishnu planets are there to support Goloka, where there's Leela going on. Yeah.
Pretty ecstatic. Pretty ecstatic.
That was really beautiful. Thank you.
So you can't say, no, you're wrong. Ramachandra is, yeah, but I love Ram. Yeah. I love to hear about Ram Leela. I love to hear about Nrsimha Leela only. And Krishna, yeah, that's nice. But it's too high for me. That's the bhakti. You can't debate that. You shouldn't debate it. I will prove it to you that, no, they're not wrong. We asked Prabhupada also, after a few months he had established that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead over all the other avatars. So he said, so why are there still Ram bhaktas in India? And he says, yeah. Yes, they say Ram, and we say Krishna, and they say Ram, Ram, we say Krishna, Krishna, and they say Ram, Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram. And that goes ecstatic.
Pradyumna had a question for you from last time because we're both very inspired by you and Vishnu Jan Swami as kirtan leaders, as bhajan singers. Did you spend any time with Vishnu Jan Swami?
He came to Calcutta and we did some kirtan. We did a recording.
Really?
I don't know.
I didn't know about this. Which recording is
Who's
that?
got it? I don't know who's got it. A couple of kirtans. Well, is there more to the question?
Well, I mean, yeah, just anything in particular that you remember about him, or anything that you would have taught, because I mean, this melody, right, the way he sings Gopinath is so inspiring for me. It's so beautiful. I think that's really cool.
Well,
And, when you talked about
he and me and Prabhupada and anyone that's doing kirtan, and even I don't like if there's too much music, because then the people can't follow. The only one I've heard that is really great is there's a Janavi Harrison. She has instruments and a keyboard and drums and a sitar and a saxophone, but everybody in the audience is chanting along.
Mm-hmm.
If someone will come in and take out their squeeze box, their harmonium, and start chanting like this: Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Everybody, wait, what is that? So, but after about 5 mantras of this convoluted melody, then people can start to join in. And what is that? You've taught them a goofy melody. Did I say this?
I agree. I totally agree. I love in kirtan when everybody's participating and everybody's spontaneously participating. Yeah,
I was in this Central Park bench. There were about 500 people in front of them. There was a rock and roll group of kirtan, rock and roll guys with guitars and drums, and he was going, "Hey, join in, Hare Krishna." Nobody could follow his rock and roll melody. So he stops the band, he walks up to the edge of the stage, and he says like this, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 500 people chanting Hare Krishna. And he goes back, hits his drums, and everybody in the audience stopped. See? This performance game, the Sahajis all do that, because many Bengalis have golden voices, but we don't want to hear melody. There was such a kirtan who performed for Bhakti Siddhanta, and they were singing in the Carnatic system. Ray. Bhakti Siddhanta said in half an hour he will finish this one mantra.
Well, that's
He's
become
showing off his voice.
it's become quite prominent, that style, and it's just kind of it is what it is. But I love your point. It's kind of really keep it simple, sadhu, and that was Prabhupada's mood.
That's another story of Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. Is he still here?
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
no, I don't. Are you still here?
Yes, I'm here, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Jagadananda, okay.
And Prabhu, when Bhakti Siddhanta's last day, he asked someone sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada and Sri Rupa Manjari Pada. And Bhakti Pramod Puri had a golden voice. And Bhakti Siddhanta said, no, not you. I want Sridhar Maharaj to sing. Sridhar Maharaj had a very thin voice. He's not a singer at all. He said, no, but I want to hear him sing.
I heard this pastime was very nice.
You heard what?
I heard this pastime, what you're speaking about.
Oh, yeah.
And the song was Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, correct?
Yeah.
Hey, I got to hold on a second.
Brad Weinberg, are you on the threads of the fifth canto?
He is.
I don't know. Hold on a second. I'm getting another call here. Let me just decline that. Sorry, I keep getting a call. My wife is calling me. She's out of
Wife?
town.
You gotta go. If it, anything that comes after my wife, you gotta go. Here's a wife joke. Discussing with your wife is like putting in a new app. You ignore all the instructions, and at the end, you put agree.
That's hysterical. Happy wife, happy life. Anyway.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, no problem. All right, I gotta go here because my wife is calling. She's in another state and she needs my assistance. But
everybody point and laugh.
I accept my fate.
Are you on the fifth canto email
Yes.
thread? Yes.
Yes.
Because I don't want to get the COVID emails. I just want to get the fifth canto emails, and it's hard to separate them. Can you help me?
I can't help you, but I'm sure local guru can.
It's very, no, they're all very.
No, we're just now waiting.
Yeah.
We're waiting. It's in a
Right.
holding pattern.
Okay, on that fifth canto COVID note, I'm gonna sayonara, baby. And, thank you so much. Thank you so
Continuing
much.
on Wednesday night, please accept my respectful obeisance.
Acyutananda Prabhu, can I ask you a question quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Acyutananda Prabhu, are you familiar or have you ever heard or did you ever come in contact with, in your early days in Calcutta, Vaishnava devotee from Bhaktidaita Madhav Maharaj's mat, a kirtanir named Sundarananda Prabhu?
Yeah.
Sundarananda, his name was Sukanta Sarkar.
I know Sundar. Yeah. He was older.
Yes.
He was former military. Yeah. Yeah, he was in the.
I've only heard him chant. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, just curious if you had ever heard him.
He was there then. He was there when I was there in 1970.
Who-
I'm not sure, but
Who was
oh, by the way, it was Bhakti began Bharati Maharaj, who ordered me and told me to read the 6 philosophies.
recently or back then?
Wow. Wow.
Back then, he's no longer in this world.
Yes.
And so we would travel between Calcutta and Mayapur. He was the architect and construction, in charge of all the construction. And he built rock solid. But we would go, and he was Panini grammar. He was full pundit. And he had a heart condition because when he was a child, this bag of cement fell on his chest. He had a heart condition. He lived to 92.
Wow.
He was there when I first met my Guru Maharaj. Very incredible, and I got a lot of association with him way back.
Full Vigyan is a great name. So he's the one that told me to. He's also the one that told me how to get all the Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Narottam books. They were in printed small in Bagh Bazaar Mutt, and he showed me. You go to the bazaar, they take the covers off, and they'll put 3 or 4 or 5 and bind them into these. He had a whole set. They looked like cupcakes. They're all beautifully bound and like that thick.
Wow.
Everybody had it. And he held one up. He said, "It is a small book, but the whole Vedas are in here." So I had 3.
Did you read that book that Bharati Maharaj wrote about the pastimes of all the different disciples of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta?
No, I have not. I didn't know it. When do we have that?
That's out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I think we have that.
Because every year, I know what he's thinking. Because every year, Bhakti Dayat Maharaj had some. Next time, remind me to tell you all about Madhav Maharaj. But every year, Madhav Maharaj had an annual festival and invited all the extant living disciples, sannyasis, for a 5-day lecture conference. They spoke every night for hours. And Sridhar Maharaj was ill, but I asked Madhav Maharaj, I said, should I ask Sridhar Maharaj to come to this festival? And he says, yes, drag him down. He said, he was spectacular. So I mentioned it to Sridhar Maharaj, and he did come that year.
Is this the book you're speaking of?
That's an old one.
let me see.
No, that's Bhakti Bala.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's full of pastime. But these are all the.
Yeah.
I met another time. One time we all went to probably the Chobish Parganas, the 24 islands south of Calcutta, South Bengal.
What are they called? What's the name?
And we all went with the sannyasis. I'll tell you one, Sridhar Maharaj, Chobish Pargana, 24 islands. It's where the tigers are. Don't go there.
This is the book. It's called My Beloved Master.
Yes.
Yeah.
Send me a copy, please.
Here you go.
I read one pastime in there. If I could just quote it real quick, just because.
You're talking about going to an island with the tigers.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please forgive me.
No, he wants to tell something. No, go ahead.
When you were speaking of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, this pastime and what a high speaker he was, and that I was thinking about this pastime, and I'm going to try to quote it as best as I remember it from reading in that book. But at the time that Srila Sridhar Maharaj first started coming to hear from Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta, they were coming to these. He was coming to these meetings. At that time, the communism was very rampant and heavy in Calcutta, and there was people that were congregating and speaking against communism, but you had to be real careful because the police would bust you, and there was all kinds of undercover cops going around searching for these groups that were like anti-communist. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, when he first started coming, was asking these real high questions, you know, and the disciples of Srila Prabhupada in the Sangha were speaking to Srila Prabhupada after he would leave and saying, I think he's a police officer because he's asking such intelligent questions. Should we stop him from coming? And Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta said, no, let him come. It's okay. And it turned out to be Srila Sridhar Maharaj.
Narayan Maharaj, this is Bhaktivedanta, Narayan Maharaj he was in the police force. So another policeman had to go undercover to arrest someone in Hardwar. So he dressed up like a sadhu and got beads, and he went up there and he was chanting Ram Ram, and he captured the guy, arrested him. And then he went back to Hardwar, became a sadhu.
That's classic.
What were you saying about the 24 islands outside of Calcutta and where there's
Yes, I was saying about them. What about them? Jovis Pargana. Jovis means 24. What about it?
I don't know. Where were you going with that story?
So Sridhar Maharaj and all the there was a Jajava Maharaj. He didn't need a microphone. Oh, and then many of my songs I got from him, and the way he sang them. Oh, what a voice!
What was his name? Nidha Maharaj?
No, it was hard to pronounce. Yajavur.
Yajuvor.
Now Bengalis say ja, so Jajava. So his name is Jajava Maharaj. Oh, spectacular kirtan. And I really follow him and the way Krishna Das Babaji spoke. So about 12 of the sannyasis and the brahmacharis all came. We had to cross 2 rivers and get to this place. And our host, one day, he said, we are friendly with the Muslims here because there was no government there. They were the government. It was too far remote, see. So they all settled up with themselves to be peaceful and prosperous. So one day they said the Muslims would like to meet with Sridhar Maharaj. So we set up a chair in the lawn, and about 20 these Muslims came, all with these staves, they're bamboo lathis, and they're staring at Sridhar Maharaj sitting in the chair for silence. I almost died. And Sridhar Maharaj raises his hand. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes. So Sridhar Maharaj goes, Salam alaikum. And they all go, alaikum salam. They all yelled, and then he spoke. He melted their hearts.
Nice.
There was one old Muslim in the Mayapur who, when he was a little boy, knew, or he had seen Bhaktisiddhanta, and he would say, yes, he used to walk like this with long steps. And everywhere he sat, he said, it would look like a picture. He remembered it. That's a kind of vibhuti, that's a kind of opulence that there are beautiful people, and there are people that make everything around them look beautiful. So he remembered that.
I heard that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to give candy to the children.
Well, another one, Keshav Maharaj, Prabhupada's sannyas guru and Shiksha guru, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, his style was to go into Calcutta, into the park where high gentlemen would sit and stand and talk, and he'd walk in and bump into them. And bump into them, and bump one. And excuse me, sir. Then he'd start preaching. Just now that I've got your attention. He was
Sridhar Maharaj called Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaj and Prabhupada's, and our Prabhupada, he said their style of preaching was like a lion out on the chase.
Not only communism, but this Vivekananda socialism was big time. So much so And one of the first disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta, he wanted to name him Paramhamsa Das. They said, they're calling Ram Krishna Paramhamsa. So people will think he's a Paramhamsa. So they changed it to Paramananda. But this Vivekananda, oh boy, it's all he's the one that Prabhupada really has in mind every time you hear that some yogis will enter into Brahmajyoti and then come back and do social service.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's exactly Vivekananda's history.
Manava Seva, Madhava Seva.
I also met Siddhanti Maharaj. He's the one in the village town that he said Ram Krishna is a madman and Vivekananda is a gunda, and there was a riot, and they were going to and Sridhar Maharaj came in and settled up with them, and they got out with their lives. Prabhupada told me they got out with their lives. But I met Siddhanti Maharaj. He was spectacular also. Scholar. He was like Jiva Goswami.
Wow.
Shastra. And he had an ashram in Puri, in Jagannath Puri, opposite the Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya established 4 mutts, Pete's, Pontiffs, Vaticans. One of them is in Puri. There's still a Shankaracharya Puri. They're all called Shankaracharya because they're all one, you know. And but the samadhis of the former Shankaracharyas were in front of Siddhanti's mutt. So on a loudspeaker, he was going, "You Mayavadis say you all merge, and that this world is an illusion, Jagan Mithya. Then why do you have temple samadhis for your previous acharyas? Why do you build them temples in this false earth? Kana." Oh, he was brutal. Sridhar Maharaj called him brutal.
Have you, Acyutananda
They're
Prabhu?
tough. I mean, they're Shaivas. They have thousands of followers. And he didn't care. What? Somebody else. Are we done?
Jagadananda, were you speaking?
Yeah, I was just going to ask about this reference. Acyutananda Prabhu, you've heard of Vivekananda had told the Bengalis to plant Begun.
Yeah. Not
Tulsi.
Not Tulsi. Oh, he was. And that's why the Ramakrishna mission. Go ahead.
They used to call him Begunananda. Begunananda.
I can't hear you.
I heard that instead of calling him Vivekanand, some people would call him Begunanand because he told people to plant Begun.
Yeah. There's a devotee here who became devotee of Prabhupada. He went to a Ramakrishna school. Every Friday was chicken.
Oh.
So they call it the Murgi Mutt.
The Murgi Mutt.
I went to a Ramakrishna hospital in Vrindavan, and down the hall I saw the sannyasi smoking. Sannyas dress. They thought they would. They all thought that since we were conquered by the Muslims and then by the British, they all tried to convert us to Islam or Christianity. So let's make nothing. They said, we're all religions are one. No, they're not. If they are, you've got a lot of holidays. Someone said the Muslim Sabbath is on Friday, and the Jewish Sabbath is on Saturday, and the Christian Sabbath is Sunday. So God has a 3-day weekend. Then here's another one. Why did God make Mormons? So that Christians would know how Jews feel. Even this word Old Testament, there was only that books of Moses and the successors of up to Malachi, up to the book of, I think it's the last book is Malachi. That was Shastra. Then the Christians write about Jesus and they just glued their book on the back of Malachi and said, the Bible. Then the Mormons come and they put their book on the New Testament now, on the Christian Bible, and there's an edition, it's this thick. And they call it the Bible.
Prabhupada said we cannot verify very much on the basis of the Bible because it's made of this person's testament and that person. And he asked, were they all pure devotees?
I have different opinions. I can talk about that later. I'm getting tired, but I think Moses was some kind of Manu, lawgiver, and it says in the 11th or 12th canto, because we also asked Prabhupada, where's the current Manu now? And he said, somewhere in this earth. And it says in the 11th or 12th cantos, Manus in Kali Yuga live in the forest with their families. So I thought Moses in the wilderness with the tribes, and he's the lawgiver. I kind of just my own speculation like that. I think Jesus came to preach almost Krishna consciousness. They didn't understand, and he came to fulfill. Oh, I'll tell you about. Oh boy, I'll tell you the whole Jesus thing. He parallels every Jewish holiday in his pastimes. I'll just give you the last one. He's the Lamb of God. He's going to be sacrificed to stop all sacrifices by fulfilling the law. My blood will pay. Everything is blood in Leviticus. The blood is offered, and that is the offering. So I'm going to give my blood, and it will cure all sins. So on Passover, Jesus has entered Jerusalem. He's been condemned. He's standing on the porch of Pontius Pilate, who was a good guy. At the same time, the sheep are being chosen for the sacrifice in the Solomon's temple. And then the head priest, they weren't rabbis, they were priests in charge of sacrifice. The head priest has to pick the best sheep for the sacrifice. So the priest says in Hebrew, that one has no blemish. At the same time, Jesus is on the porch of Pontius Pilate, and Pontius Pilate is going, I see no fault in this man. Can't believe it. All the sheep that were relegated to sacrifice in the Solomon's temple for centuries were all raised in Bethlehem. That's why you hear Jesus born in Bethlehem with the shepherds. Those were special shepherds that raised the best sheep for sacrifice in the temple. So he's born there. And on and on. It goes back to Abraham going to sacrifice his son. And the angel stops his hand. This is the beginning of the Jesus Leela. He goes and he fulfills. So Abraham is going to sacrifice his son. The son says, where is the animal to be sacrificed? And he doesn't want to tell him because he's been ordered to sacrifice his son on this altar. Where did these altars come from in this whole process of sacrifice? It was from Vedas. It was from the Vedic culture. Somehow got there. So then he's about to sacrifice the son. The angel stops his hand, and in the bushes is a ram with his head is stuck in a crown of thorns. And Abraham takes him out and sacrifices. So 3,000 years later, 2,500 years later, Jesus comes, he's going to fulfill that by sacrifice. Your son isn't worthy, but God's son is worthy. And is anybody going to convert to Christianity? Because I could go on. But I think Jesus was a Vaishnava. He came because there's a historian, Karmi historian, says the Essenes wore red tilak, urdhrapundam. They wore red tilak on their foreheads, an upward line of red on their foreheads. They covered up all of this. There was no one-way sign between India and the East and the Near East. They were sharing all of this, and so much was probably lost in the library at Alexandria. I think they were reading and knowing all Shastras with them.
Is the Aquarian gospel have any validity to it? I think Prabhupada questioned it. Jesus going to Jagannath Puri?
Yeah, he says in a purport that he died there.
He died in Puri.
No, in Kashmir.
Kashmir, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to Puri, all that I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think he was preaching that, and this is all covered up. You know, the spin doctors were there, you know. There's another great long video documentary called Tares Amongst the Wheat, that in 18 something, some charlatan finds a manuscript and says, this is the original manuscript. And he was honored. Now, he was a Protestant. He was honored by the Pope, who gives him a degree and a title by the Roman Catholic Pope. Why? Because the Pope knew that the manuscript was fake. And another scholar debunks him after he gets all these honors all over Europe, that he's found the first Bible manuscript. Because why would the Catholics support a Protestant with a fake manuscript? Because from the beginning, the popes never wanted the laity to read. They
That's
wanted
called
to be
tares amongst the what?
Wheat.
Wheat.
Tares is a poison grass that looks like wheat and kills the crop. It's an intrusive poison wheat. So if you throw seeds of this tares grass into somebody's wheat field, he'll lose his crop. That's in the Bible. It's in, Jesus gives that parable. So just like Prabhupada says in Madhya Lila, 152 verse, great. If one thinks that there are pseudo devotees in our movement, they should take shelter and be near the spiritual master. So yes, there are intrusive people. Either you got to read the Jesuit oath that we will infiltrate mostly they were against Protestants. We will infiltrate these heretics and become the best of them and even speak on their pulpits and then destroy them from within. I'm sure some of them have come to ISKCON. And some of them, like the policemen, they may become devotees. They may, but they come to make trouble. So these spin doctors have been active for a long time, and they know how to twist things. What they do, they say their enemy is doing.
So where would you say you can get the most
These popes,
report
see
for
the Roman
Jesus?
the Roman Empire, when people converted to Christianity, finally Constantine, all these emperors, instead of being called Caesars, they call themselves popes. And that is how they rule. You couldn't be a king unless you were anointed by a pope. We think that there are charges or something, but they were the king makers. They were the highest authority of the secular royalty in Europe. Charlemagne was the first. And they could excommunicate a king. That's how powerful they were. They had their own army. They could order knights to go and slaughter the Cathars in South France. Pope Innocent III is the one who said, they said, well, who are the Cathars? He said, go to South India, kill them all. God will sort out his own. He's the one that first said that. How did we get to this subject? A lot of blood. So Buddha stops sacrifice by rejecting the Vedas. Jesus wanted to stop sacrifice by sacrificing himself, but it didn't happen. It did not happen. They went on sacrificing. Even the Jewish followers of Jesus went on doing a sacrifice because I don't think any of his disciples understood him. They all thought that he was, Messiah doesn't mean the savior, son of God. It means a great savior of the country. Some of the Caesars they changed one word, the Messiah or a Messiah. He was a Messiah. There were even Caesars who were called messiahs, who saved and defeated enemies and made peace. They were called messiah. Messiah just is Solomon and David. They're called messiahs, and some of the prophets. So he was a messiah. One disciple, Timothy, he says, when the new kingdom comes, can me and my brother be judges? And Jesus said, I'm not talking about the kingdom of this world. I'm talking about the kingdom of my Father. They never got it. They thought he's going to drive out the Romans.
But Srila Prabhupada attributed Jesus Christ as being a Shaktyavesh avatar.
Yes, in his when I heard this from these what are called Messianic Jews, and they tell the story of how Jesus fulfills every Jewish celebration, and all the celebrations were to keep people in mind of what the true Messiah is going to be. There's either Shavuos. Shavuos is Jewish holiday. That's where the song bringing in the sheaves. It's not sheep, it's sheaves. They bring in barley. Barley is white when it's ripe. So at that time, that's when Jesus stops at the well of the Samaritans, which would, you would even go around Samaria. They didn't like them. So Jesus goes into Samaria, he's at the well, and there's a lady there, and he says, give me water. She says, why are you taking water from a Samaritan? And he tells the Samaritan lady her whole life story. And she goes back to the village and says, there's a Shaktyavesh here. While she's gone, the disciples say, why are you talking to a Samaritan? He says, you want to see a Shavuos ceremony of bringing in the white? Well, all the Samaritans wore white. So thousands came. He says, here's the real Shavuos. I'm bringing in the crops. And they all became Christian. Or Krishna conscious. Maybe they were all chanting Hare Krishna. I don't know. But this one scholar says they wore tilak, one group, the Essenes, and others. So he says, so the Shavuos holiday is bringing in wagons full of white barley. He's bringing in thousands of white dressed Samaritans.
So Jesus Christ's planet with the Father would be a planet with the Vishnu avatar as the Father, or how does that work?
Yes, he would be there would be a Saka or like Prahlad. Well, no, it's not Prahlad. Prahlad and Nrsimha relationship is father and son. So here we have a father and son. He could be like that. I have a question. Okay, I'll tell you right at the beginning. It's a joke. Okay, so on the Kalki planet, you know, if you get Sarupya Moksha, everybody looks like Vishnu, right?
Right.
But on the Kalki Vishnu planet, everybody looks like Kalki, but no heads. All right.
So we'll see you Wednesday if you can make it back. Acyutananda Prabhu.
Yes. This is so easy to do.
Okay.
It's a bumpy start to sign in.
Yeah, we love hearing from you.
To connect and different people.
Yeah.
How many people are on now?
We were about about 8 or 9 tonight, maybe 10. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for coming, Jagadananda. Thank you, Regina.
Yeah, those are all good fun. Yeah. So did you spend time
Prabhu, thank you so much for inviting me.
Did you spend time with Bharati Maharaj and Bhakti Pramod Puri? How long were you with them?
You're asking if I did?
Yeah, how long?
Yes. Well, I met Guru Maharaj in 1994, and I was going twice a year to India. Thereafter, every year, I was going twice a year for a month and a half each trip to be with Guru Maharaj personally.
Now, he had a sannyasi disciple that came to Alachua. I think his name is Siddhanti.
Oh, Srila Bodhayan Maharaj.
Who's it?
Bodhayan Maharaj?
Yeah. And he said the last years of his life, Bhakti Pramod would do 3 times a day, like an hour of puja or 2 hours, and beginning with just his Gayatri. But it would go on
Yes.
to a very, go on for 2 hours, 3 times a day, so fully absorbed.
Yes, yes. I remember one time I was in Puri. I came to visit. Guru Maharaj was in Puri. There was no more than 3 devotees at the temple, 1 servant, a pujari, and Gopinath Prabhu. And I was there for about a month. First, like week, I'm coming to see Guru Maharaj every day. And there was nothing for me to do. I couldn't cook, pujari service, nothing like that. So I was trying to do some service personally for Guru Maharaj. I wanted to massage him. And he, every time I tried to do it, he goes, Baba, go take prasad. Go take prasad, Baba. And I was like, so finally I got frustrated like the last time he did it. And I kind of left and I was agitated, you know, so I stayed away all day. I didn't come back to the temple until about 7 o'clock at night. And then when I came back to the temple, I said, the devotees come running up. They said, Jagadananda, where have you been? Guru Maharaj's been calling you all day. Where's Jagadananda? So then I came up to his room and I did my Dandavat. I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, you know, what is it? And he said, Baba, you're asking to do massage. He goes, I have this shaking problem in my hand. Because of this shaking problem, I'm unable to write. He goes, normally I write every day, but for a long time I can't write. Can you do massage? And will this massage cure this shaking problem? When he said that, I immediately was like, I just shrunk down to nothing.
You didn't know about the rhomboid and the shoulder, the rotator cuff? That's where it starts, Peg.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know.
It's just like, it's like whiplash, but it happens over a long time of leaning over and writing, writer's cramp, and it starts in the neck. So next time.
That would make sense because he was always in bed, you know, like kind of hunched up.
Always hit.
Yep.
What age is
also,
your body
Prabhupada,
now?
when he was a house,
Acyutananda Prabhu, what age is your body now?
74.
What's your secret?
What's your PIN number? What's your mother's maiden name? What's your favorite candy bar?
What's the last 4 digits of your social?
Social security number. When Prabhupada was a householder, he brought his young son, Vrindavan Chandra. See, Prabhupada told Vrindavan Chandra came to see me at Madhav Maharaj's mutt sometime. And Prabhupada said, you can maybe preach to him because I brought him when he was a young boy to Bhaktisiddhanta. And I said, show him your mercy. And Bhaktisiddhanta said, no. And a few times later, I brought him again and I said, this is my son. Please, Guru Maharaj, show him your mercy. Said no. And this happened a few times. Then one day he brought him, before Prabhupada spoke, Bhaktisiddhanta said, now I show you my mercy.
I don't understand. Can you give the purport?
No, no one can just like when Bhaktisiddhanta was talking about Kanyakumari. No, I can't explain. But Prabhupada said he might get some taste, but he didn't. He's the one that got hold. Some lawyer got a hold of him and said, well, you can inherit ISKCON. And that didn't work out. No, but no one can understand the mind of the Paramahamsa. That's what, you were here last week. I told the story of Sridhar Maharaj and Bhaktisiddhanta and Kanyakumari.
I didn't hear that. I wasn't.
Okay, next Wednesday I'll tell it again.
Okay,
this Wednesday, remind me. Just say so.
I don't have to send you the link every time, do I, Acyutananda Prabhu?
If it's always the same numbers.
Yes, it's always the same. Okay, we want to keep you in good health because we need to get lots more mercy from you. So please take rest now.
Yeah.
My obeisance to everyone.
Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Sadhu Sange Sarva Shastra Koi Lavamatra Sadhu Sange Sarva Siddhi Hoi.
Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.